I'd like to welcome everybody to the Delaware County Commissioners meeting. It's Monday, May 5th, 2014. It's now 9 a.m. If everybody stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Down.
Denise, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bledsoe.
Here.
Ms. Riggin.
Present.
Ms. Rust.
Present.
And Mr. Steve Murphy.
Present.
Forget me?
Oh, and Mr. King. I'm sorry.
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
Blaming on the audio.
I'm sorry, James.
I'm used to it.
Oh, yeah.
We need approval of the minutes for April 21st.
So moved.
Second that.
Got a motion and a second. Denise, call the roll, please.
Sure.
Mr. Bledsoe.
Yes.
Ms. Riggin.
Yes.
And Mr. King.
Yes. Next, we have presentations to the commissioners. Jim Mansfield.
Just behind there.
Jim knows how to show up on me.
Good morning.
Morning.
Just wanted to share with you a little bit about our celebration of National Tourism Week. It goes on this week, and we've got a lot of things going on within the tourism facilities and such. But we have a celebration scheduled for this coming Thursday, May the 8th, at 4:30 to 6:30 at the Horizon Convention Center. A number of our area attractions will be on display, and we invite all of you to come and share in that celebration. President King, I hope you can attend and offer a few words at that function as well. But a lot of things gearing up in the world of tourism. We just celebrated the Ball State's graduation, which filled our city with a lot of outside guests. A lot of things ramping up for the summer. So we invite you to come and hear a lot about what's going on. So appreciate it if you could. If you have any questions, we'd be glad to try and answer those.
Appreciate you stopping by, Jim, and giving us good news. I know your staff's working very hard, and we appreciate all the volunteers that help you also.
We've had a very good year. Last year we established an all-time record in revenues generated through tourism. This year we've commissioned an outside national research firm to do a economic impact study. Should be getting those numbers back in August. And we did that about 5 years ago. And at that time, I think a lot of people were surprised that the economic impact of tourism in Delaware County and during a recessionary period was about $222 million just for that 1 year. So we think that with the economy showing an upswing, that we'll get some real good numbers out of this study. So again, we invite you to come and spend some time with us this Thursday.
I'm sure you'll feed us well, too.
We always do.
See you Thursday, Jim.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Next, we have NDOT.
There's a few quick packets.
Okay, thank you. Oh, wait, these are the same things I gave you guys. Some of these.
I'll be as brief and concise as I can. My voice is not working with me this morning. So basically why I'm here, Commissioner Riggin.
Give your name and title.
I'm sorry, Nathan Riggs, Media Relations Director. I work in the Communications Division at NDOT. That's the Department of Transportation. For those who might not be familiar, we build and maintain state highways, U.S. highways, interstates, and Indiana. One of our other responsibilities is litter pickup from the roadways, but also the rights of way adjacent to the roadways. We do make a concerted effort every year to try to clean up after the winter months. because typically we have snow, especially this last winter, we've had snow covering up. Unfortunately, people like to dispose of their litter from time to time from their vehicles, and especially in the winter months, that accumulates on roadsides. So each spring we have something called Trash Bash. Our maintenance crews get out, often partnering with Department of Corrections to try to catch up and clean up, which we do all throughout the summer months. But again, during the winter, we're most preoccupied with keeping snow and ice off the roadways. With that being said, we do have a limited amount of resources to devote to trash and litter pickup on the rights of way. We're always concerned with the safety of our roadways and making sure that debris are picked up from the actual roadways themselves. But sometimes debris can accumulate on the grassy shoulders and ditches because, again, limited resources. We're primarily focused with safe roads and bridges. So we do have opportunities for community groups to invest in the environmental and aesthetics of the community with programs like Adopt a Highway, volunteering at least 4 times a year to get groups on these roadway segments and help us keep the roadways clear. It benefits us as being able to allocate more taxpayer dollars to again those safe roads and bridges, and it makes people feel good about their communities by being able to volunteer and clean those things up. So that's kind of the program 101. If there's any questions, or I gave a few packets to Commissioner Riggin outlining how to sign up for these programs, but we do encourage participation, again, because it benefits INDOT as an agency, being able to free up those resources to be able to do other things like patch potholes or seal cracks that might want to turn into potholes. But again, it makes people feel good about their community being able to volunteer and having.
And Nathan, I appreciate you driving in from Minneapolis. We do have a problem around here with trash. I mean, it's just mind-boggling driving in off of 69 and looking at 332. We need some pride around here. So we do need to get some groups out there, and I really appreciate you driving, bringing these, because we want it safe, and if people would adopt a section. Now, even 4 times a year is extensive sometimes for people to get their groups together. So we'd be happy if even 2 or 3.
Yeah, anything is a step up from nothing.
Anything. But the importance is that we have, well, I know in your district, the Greenfield district that we're in, there's like 1,000 miles of state highways.
Well, that would be in the Albany sub-district. It's about 1,000 miles.
Oh, just in the Albany, okay.
We have 6 districts statewide.
Okay,
The East Central District or the Greenfield District
So in the Albany.
has about 5,000 or 6,000 lane miles of.
So in Delaware County, they couldn't give me how many miles, but
We're at least
the
looking at
importance
hundreds
is
of
it's
miles.
double the ditches.
Sure.
So we just really would appreciate anybody that's interested. They could call our office, and we could leave some applications up here. And Angie, I thought we could leave some out of highway, but then you'll be going on the 4-day week. So we could leave some out there too if they wanted to
It's on
stop.
the webpage as well.
And it's on the web.
INDOT does have a webpage
And people
devoted to this.
can get on the
Just
web.
search Adopt a Highway INDOT or something similar.
Yeah.
It will pop up.
But we appreciate it, you coming and we're stressing this, and we'll hear from, we hope that the public will respond.
Yeah, any groups that you might be, as public officials, I'm sure you're active in the communities. Forwarding this information would be greatly helpful. If just as a matter of giving my contact information, that would be tremendous. I'm always happy to promote these programs. So any groups, especially as you mentioned, on 332 or the bypass, those gateways into the community, those are really important to keep clean, not just from a safety standpoint,
Right.
but also from as a.
And we really would like to target, before you start cutting the grass, that
Right. Well, and the mowing cycle should be starting ahead of Memorial Day is
Right.
usually when we start. So over the next few weeks, we'll be busy picking up litter and mowing. Again, this year has been extremely difficult because our crews have been so busy trying to catch up with potholes because of the winter that we had.
Is the state on a twice-a-year moving cycle? How often do they?
I believe they target 3 times.
Are they 3 times? Okay, perfect. Well, thanks again.
Yeah, thank you. I'll leave my information in case somebody would like it.
Next.
If I could just add, I wanted to let you know that you probably haven't discussed this yet, but since he's here, it seems timely, but the employees of Delaware County EMS have filled out a application for Adopt a Highway. And Nathan, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a 2-mile stretch, is that right?
I believe so.
And then you don't get to choose it, but NDOT chooses it for you. So they actually have their application in, so the employees are actually starting their thing, and then the CERT classes that we've taught, we're going to try to do a community CERT team that would do adopt 2 miles of highway as well.
Well, very good.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Jason.
Glad to hear you're up on it.
Next, we have AT&T. Do we have a representative here from them today?
AT&T?
Yes.
Yes. Good morning. My name's Charlie Green. I'm with AT&T Mobility. I'm the account manager for Delaware County, and was asked to come in and present this morning, share some information with you on Rave Messenger from AT&T. This is an emergency broadcast notification solution. It's intended to be used for broadcast notification out to county employees, excuse me. So it can be used for internal proactive communications, common example being public safety, the sheriff's department. If there's a situation, an emergency text message can be sent out to notify county citizens and individuals of an event, to perhaps stay away from a certain location, and it is very quick and very effective. As an example, this particular Rave Messenger solution actually came up out of the higher education segment. It's used by Ball State, Indiana University, Purdue University, and probably the most unfortunate but common example of how Rave Messenger is used is that when this occurred at Purdue a month or so ago, Purdue implemented their Rave Messenger alert, and it sent out 49,000 text messages to faculty, staff, and students in less than 3 minutes. So it's a very fast, very simple to use, simple to receive on the citizens' end, and very effective. So the county can use this to notify individual departments and employees, whether it's sheriff's, highway, health, what have you. So it can be used internally and then also for citizens of the county. The nice part about the constituent facing, what we call the external communications, is that there is no cost to the citizens of the county. It's for a citizen to sign up or to opt in to receive messages from the county. The individual would go to a website, a web portal, and enter in their contact information. And the Rave Messenger alert can be sent out to a basic cell phone via text, a smartphone via text. It can be sent out as an email, or even a voice call to a particular number. And again, it's at no cost to the citizens of the county. So it's simply a matter of kind of loading the phone numbers into the alert or messenger system, and it's pretty much up and running. The Rave Wireless Safety is one of AT&T's leading mobility partners. The implementation services are cost effective, and there's a lot of training and reporting that's provided at no charge as part of the implementation services. Recently, the city of Muncie has just begun to use Rave Messenger. So this would really give the city and all of Delaware County a very advanced communication solution to effectively, proactively communicate with your citizens and constituents. Be glad to answer any questions you might have.
I sit on the 911 board, and so does Jason Rogers. And also, can you explain, like through our dispatch center, how on the phones that you can put your information in, and if you dial like 911, how your information can pop up? You know, if you have any allergies, all that's in there. Your kids' pictures, like say we have a missing child, you can call that, your child's picture and everything will automatically pop up at our dispatch center, which will also help the police departments, you know, find the child.
Sure.
Or how if you're sick, you're using your cell phone, if the cell phone will actually cut out, that they can still ping you if your phone goes off. That way we can still find you through this program, because I think that's one of the big things that Jason, the sheriff, and myself was really looking at and really interested in, because it would be a big safety thing for our citizens here in this county.
Correct, correct. So the Commissioner, the solution you're referring to is the Rave Smart 911, which the county has moved forward with, as has the city. And with Rave Smart 911, again, your county citizens will be able to go out to a web portal and at no cost create a personal profile. It may be for an individual, it may be for their family. And it's as simple as putting in your name, your address. If there's anyone in the household who has a medical condition, perhaps they're on oxygen or they're diabetic, or a common one is children that might have a disability, autism, that all of that personal family information can be put into their personal profile. That profile is stored and is secured and is only accessed when a phone call comes into the 911 dispatch center from that one of the phones that are listed. And as a citizen, I might log in and input my home phone number, my cell number, my wife's cell number, our son's cell number, so that if a call into 911 comes from any one of those 4 numbers, our personal green family profile will come up. It might include a picture of the house. It might include information as to whether or not there are any pets that are in the home and that individuals need to be aware of. So that the idea behind it is to give first responders more information about the citizens who may be calling in the event of an emergency. More information is powerful, and they might be able to avoid a situation. The response becomes much more effective when they know that there's an elderly person in the home that's wheelchair bound. The idea is to, again, give the first responders more information about that home and that family and the people in need. Again, it's at no cost to the citizens of the county.
So how soon are we going to be able to go on to this?
The Smart 911 contract was signed just a couple of weeks ago. The Smart 911 product is on order, and I would expect by the end of May, probably in about a 3-week time frame, certainly by the end of May, the system will go live. A real key to the success of whether it's the Rave Messenger text alerting application or Smart 911 is getting the word out to the community, getting the word out to the county. And Rave and AT&T will provide a lot of free marketing advice and marketing materials. You want to put it up on your website, articles in the newspaper. There are a lot of flyers, there's a lot of tools that we have that will help the county market this and get the word out, because you want everyone in the county to a profile in. And that profile is secure. No one can access it with the exception of someone in dispatch when a 911 call comes in. So I would expect by the end of the month.
Look forward to it. Thank you for coming and
Have any
explaining.
more questions?
Sir, could I have a business card?
Yes, I will get one for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Can't wait.
Last
Thank you.
question. Is it going to locate the cell phone if they're not at home?
What do you think about that?
I believe when we was at the 911, they said if you call in, that it can track the cell phone. And if you call in and if the cell phone is disconnected, it can still track the phone, but it can't track the phone not unless you actually call in the 911.
So it uses
I believe
the
that's-
GPS, as long as it's a GPS-enabled device,
Not at
yes.
home, we'll go locate that.
Yeah, it's, if you're on the highway, you have, some kind of incident, you call, the phone goes dead, we can still track where you're at to get people to you, so.
There's really two parts to that question. One is that I think is noteworthy to say, once you create a profile for your telephone, whether it's your cell phone or your home phone, that profile follows you. There are many communities throughout the country that are using this technology. So let's say that you go on vacation with your family in Washington, D.C., and your granddaughter or grandson, whomever that you've got with you, gets lost. If their profile is in your Rave 911 profile, or Rave Smart 911 profile, then that dispatch center in Washington, D.C. would also have that information. So as this spreads across the country, it's not just good for our community, but when you travel, that helps as well. And to the other end, if you indeed, current technology can triangulate between 3 cell towers where your cell phone's at, which gives us a radius of about 5 miles to look for that individual. Once you create this profile, it actually gives a far more direct address, if you will, for your cell phone, and that tower will then pinpoint where you're at. And they gave us some case studies where somebody had driven off the highway and used this technology, their phone went dead, and they were able to locate that individual simply by their last known location because of that profile. So it takes what technology we have now, and if you sign up for your personal security profile, then we can actually pinpoint where your last phone call was from. So it's a far more robust system than we have now.
Thank you for putting that.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
We have no contracts, agreements for approval. Appointments. Do we have 2 for the Fair Board?
2 for the Fair Board, one being Dale Astrop and John Ryan. So I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second. Have any discussion on this? Denise, can you call the roll, please?
Miss Reagan,
Second.
Mr. Bledsoe,
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. Have no table business, no ordinance for second reading or first reading. Have one resolution for approval. Resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the County of Delaware, Indiana, with a final determination concerning vacant parcels not sold and a tax sale. The resolution number be 2014-026.
Morning, Jan.
Good morning, Janet Hessler, tax sale clerk. This is a follow-up to 2014-020 resolution, which identified parcels to be offered for sale to adjacent property owners. These properties have been in multiple tax sales, and they have pretty delinquent taxes. So I've accepted applications from adjacent property owners. They've been identified, and we're ready to proceed to do the title search with your approval.
I'll move for approval of resolution 2014-026.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Discussion. Denise, call the roll, please.
Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. Bledsoe.
Yes.
And Mr. King.
Yes.
Thank you, Janice, for working
Thanks,
so
Jan.
hard on this. Someday maybe we'll have them all done.
Our copier was not working on Friday afternoon, so I wasn't able to do the minutes on the good paper for your signature, so I'll have it the next time.
Okay, that's fine. What?
Next, we have department heads and elected officials.
Mr. President, real quick, there seems to be a little bit more misconception on the septic tank fee, and Josh, you coming up here might support this fine, but I want to make it clear that I'm not in support of that, and I know that you guys aren't either from our conversations. So I'd like a motion for support that commissioners will not support any passage or introduction of any resolution of such of the septic tank tax, and to let the boards understand that we're not going to support any kind of septic tank permit fee on those this current septic tanks that are out there now.
I'll second it.
And for discussion, I understand the need to address this, for the failing systems that are out in the community. But also understand there needs to be a plan, a 15, 20-year plan on how, and this stuff needs to get paid, and how it needs to be paid for and addressed. I've even had a state senator and some representatives contact over this fee. Like I say, understand the need that some of these things need to be corrected. But at the same point, this yearly permit fee or tax that's being suggested, there's no way I'm ever going to pay it. And somewhere down the line, this board up here passes it, you can bet your farm I'll reside in another county. I'm not in favor of this whatsoever.
Scott Alexander, County Council. I appreciate you guys taking the stand on this. I didn't know this was going to be up here today, but there has, obviously, you guys have received a lot of discussion out in the county on this, and I really appreciate you taking that position, the position that you're getting ready to take.
It's rumbling that's continuing.
Oh yeah, it's getting worse. I'm really glad that you're addressing this. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate the open discussion about it. The conversation is beginning, or has begun, with the regional wastewater district. I think there was a little bit of confusion with some of the opinion article or columns that were in the Star Press about what the health department's intentions are with reviewing its ordinance that is approved by the commissioners. So the ordinance that we're reviewing for the septic tank on-site sewage disposal systems, the discussion with that ordinance is completely separate. So we are looking at the model ordinance for the trend, which is towards operation and maintenance. The board did review, I passed that out to the board, and we'll continue, I think, we'll be continuing that discussion from the standpoint of, I think that ordinance is 1982 or, somewhere around there. So, looking at what recommendations for codification, updates being every 10 years. That specific model ordinance looks at new systems that come online and repairs to systems having an operation and maintenance component, which then have an active permit on them as they go forward, and then are inspected at different intervals depending on what technology is utilized in the system. So if you have a pump or some advanced engineering other than a gravity, then that may take more intensive, a 3-year cycle as opposed to a 5-year cycle on it. And then looks at requirements for having the tank pumped and cleaned as part of that permit, operating and maintenance permit. So I just want to make a point that that's a completely separate discussion than what the regional sewage district is discussing, which is what its authority is as a separate entity of government underneath the IDEM as their authority for management of technologies for sewage treatment within their district. So just to separate out those conversations, because I think the board needs to continue to look at its ordinance that underneath the commissioner's authority for on-site regulation and work to get the best update to that for where not only is the state rule at where it's been updated, but also where technology and science is
involved, because we have a lot of new technologies in Indiana that have came online over the last few years that could be available to citizens for implementation on their properties to correct some of these issues. But because we're underneath an older ordinance and haven't been brought in that new code into our local jurisdiction, some citizens aren't able to access those right now because they do take a more intensive operation of maintenance protocol. So just to make it clear is, you know, I would like to continue that discussion with the Board of Health to make sure and update that ordinance. And I don't want it to perceive that that is where the discussion of the membership fee in the regional wastewater district territory is. So the regional wastewater district territory and what authorities they have to institute fees or chart or look at customers, then, you know, I want to make sure and have that separate. At the same time, if anything that the regional wastewater district or the Board of Health is going to do to discuss an ordinance for changes in fees or that, will have public hearings involved in that too. So that's the beginning of the discussion. I think there's some discussion with the regional wastewater district is discussing it with IDEM. But on your point about the study of the issue, is we've had 67 some areas in the county that were identified in the late 70s and early 80s as having known sewage problems of direct connections to, you know, waters of the state of Indiana. And the regional wastewater district, along with other sanitary districts in the county of incorporated areas, have addressed to date about 31 of those areas. So I think there's been a great progress in getting a lot of those areas corrected, but some of the issue is what's left out there. They are not the low-hanging fruit. They're either far away from existing systems, or they're, and that's one of the main concerns, because running a trunk line or getting them hooked to a sanitary sewer system like Muncie Sanitary District has significant costs involved in it. So we're going to have to look at on-site type solutions, cluster systems, some different technologies that haven't been under the authority or expertise of the regional wastewater district in the past. So a lot of that discussion is trending towards that. We've had a lot of calls from citizens to have better study on better water quality monitoring, better management of the on-site systems. And so I think that's where a lot of the discussion is coming, is where is that money going to come from to do
and that's
that?
what needs to be in the plan, and that's why I understand the studies of these areas in our community that have these failing systems and have for some time, but there has to be some sort of a financial plan, a study, as how this is going to be taken care of. And even if I understand you correctly, the Board of Health's looking at if you say, as an example, next year, anybody has constructed a new property or puts in a system would then be entitled, would have to have an operating fee of a period of.
It's usually broken down, depending on the technology. It's like an elevated sand mound that takes a pump and has a pressure system. Might be evaluated every year or 2 years because it's more of intensive engineering, whereas like a gravity might be every 5.
I'm not in favor of that either, just so you know that part of the way.
Do you have a mound system?
No, I have just a regular gravity flow. But
sure.
I know several people that have built homes, and it's if there's a common denominator over everybody, that the feedback way before I was commissioner and even now is the fact that it's sometimes very difficult to get a septic installation permit fee, and when they do, it's expensive. And obviously, so these systems that are being kept up to date, the latest systems that are proven to work are more expensive. You know, these people put a $25,000 system in, they're going to maintain their pump. They can do that on their own. I mean, they'll put a $500,000 house on this property with a $30,000 septic. I don't think they need somebody at the health department coming out there every year and say, oh, you might want to do this. I don't get that. I mean, maybe I just don't get that.
Sure. Well, I definitely appreciate that, Commissioner Bledsoe.
I would say that's just one opinion, but you know, where does it stop?
Well,
in the manpower, and if somebody doesn't pay these things, we put them in a tax sale for these fees. Who collects the fees? I definitely don't want the regional involved with anything of that sort.
Well, I think the regional wastewater district is already involved in
Yeah, right. I don't need that, we don't need to continue them on every resident of Delaware County.
Well, and that's what they're looking at right now is right now they already have that authority in every resident of Delaware County. They don't necessarily charge that fee.
They don't have a fee, the authority to stop.
Well, I think that's what's in discussion, and I know that along with your discussion about the legislation down at the state, we've been involved with the Environmental Health Association, and obviously the Regional Wastewater District Association at the state level. There's been a lot of trending at the state level to look at whether those boards become elected or, have changes in those regional wastewater district statutes. So it's definitely an ongoing discussion. It's at the state level, there's no doubt about it. There's a lot of these districts across the state, and they were formed as a mechanism to try to address these issues from a collective standpoint. Because they are a collective issue that impact every resident of Delaware County, because pollution in the waterways is impactful to our economic development. It's impactful to trying to attract business, and so that discussion will continue to try to figure out those legal authorities. And I would encourage, I've tried to work more with the Regional Wastewater District here since I've got here. I think we need to have better connection to the commissioners and elected officials, or with Scott at the council. And even if the council wants to set a liaison that could come and understand the mechanisms of the regional wastewater districts and where those legal separations are for those authorities, then hopefully as we develop this plan, which is really what this discussion is all about, and we're starting that discussion, and it's unfortunate that there's been some opinions that have gone out on it before the discussion has continued further, because that's exactly what we're trying to do, is lay out a plan that's going to be looking at how we monitor water quality and also work to find solutions to these problems at the same time, so we don't have to declare homes unfit for habitation and look at vacate orders, which is really the only thing that the health department has for authority to address a lot of these issues. And so if we have a strong plan through the regional wastewater district to address these areas, then just like the city with its CSO separation plan, things can continue somewhat underneath, knowing that these are known areas that are impacted for failing septic systems, and we don't have to move into an unfit human habitation declaration on every house that is known failing and look at having people vacate their homes and having a bunch of vacant homes that are going through that process. So it's a delicate balance there that we're trying to work with the state environmental management, so they understand that Delaware County takes this problem very seriously and is going to work the best that it can to try to find what is the best way to move forward with finding solutions for these problems.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
Denise?
I have one more minute, sorry.
On this
One
subject?
Different subject.
No, let us know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Bledsoe?
Yes.
Ms. Riggin?
No.
And Mr. King?
Yes.
No, you can't.
I appreciate it. We do, one thing I wanted to bring up and why I came today is reviewing our 2013 reports and some of the recent activity that you may have seen in the press about the Budget Inn Hotel out there. Is we've kind of got an ongoing issue that we see from the health department standpoint with some of the hotel motels in the county, that we have meth labs, some of them that are ongoing, cyclical problem. We have unfit habitation issues. We've had one hotel where there was a death that occurred in several days where the person was in the room, and then huge amounts of trash and garbage in what's supposed to be a room that is regularly cleaned, you monitor. So we're seeing a trend there in some of these areas, and I wanted to notify the commissioners or bring to the table that we're going to work with the Board of Health instead of looking at a task force to study the issue that will include the Visitors Bureau and hotel motel and members of the industry to see if we'll discuss the issue, what might need to be the next steps at looking at having a little bit more involvement in oversight because of some of these cyclical issues that are impacting not only local government, but also that have kind of indirect impacts to folks coming to this county and staying in hotel rooms and having an unsatisfactory, room or those issues. And so I just want to bring to the table, let you know that we're going to form a task force, try to involve, members of the city, many members of the community that will have input on this issue. Because like Henry County is moved forward with more of an oversight ordinance, and so has Allen County that looks at trying to get ahead of some of these issues. A lot of them are in the unfranchised hotels and motels. So I'll make sure and bring that, keep you up to date, and bring that back.
Monthly, weekly reports.
Can I make a comment about the septic tanks? During my travels here in the last several weeks and being involved in the DeSoto sewer project of sorts, places I go that have analyzed septic problems also have severe drainage problems. And I believe they go hand in hand, and Josh was talking about a comprehensive report. I would ask this board to possibly explore some drainage issues in the areas that have septic issues, because I believe they go hand in hand. Just like DeSoto, you cured the septic problem, you still got water standing everywhere.
Yeah, that'd be, matter of fact, Phil Taylor is drawing up a plan, short-term, long-term, to address, most generally, you look at DeSoto, Cowan, Beverly Hills area, all the other areas that have a lot of concentrated homes. The private developer back in the 60s, 50s, whatever, put these in with basically was an underage tile at that point in time to drain that neighborhood.
Yeah.
And that's, we work well with Country Village, but a lot of that is not under the purview of the surveyor because there's no legal drain. There might be a legal drain about 3,000-4,000 feet away, but yeah, there needs, the problem there is the fact that in order to do that by drainage law, it has to be done under one, either be a new construction or reconstruction if it is an old tributary or a legal drain that's currently under the surveyor's purview. What happens is the fact those are expensive. They're $300,000 and $400,000 and $500,000 at the bare minimum to take any kind of relief from a particular concentrated area and get it to the legal drain, and that's all by law.
I'm not without understanding, Larry.
Yeah.
However, if you've been down in Oakville recently, those people down there have huge ditches in their front yards.
They do. But like I said, that's what he's looking at, is trying to get a plan where these areas, concentration of these waters are happening. But understand, we have to go at a public hearing and go to the people by the law, and they'll have to pay for it. And that's where it becomes a little bit of an issue. A lot of an issue is the fact that when they only have 5 years to pay for this, it gets expensive.
Those big sewer bills go forever.
Yeah, those they go forever, but you got to understand, in order to drain that particular part, it has to be done a certain way. And when you have a public hearing on a drainage board, trust me, been on it for 6 years, whatever, they don't want it. They'd rather have the water than have a $200 or $300 or $400 a month or a year extra payment for 5 years. I mean, and that's where we're facing. That's where, and I've talked to.
Well, by the time you hook up the sewers, $2,500, you pay $88 a month for the rest of your life and stuff. I think that they would probably rather have the water out of their yards and not have the big ditches.
You're exactly right. But they want you got to come to the public hearing when we have one that they think differently. But it's Phil's still trying to get where we can legally get up and make sure that these ditches are open and that these tiles and things are clean and keep them cleaned under the watersheds, and that does help. Now, when you have a big rain event like we've had, that's hard to handle, but, Phil has been very aggressive and Stan from the surveyor's office to go out and make sure that everything on the county end is working.
Well, I think if you dealt with that problem first, some of the septic problems would become secondary.
Well, in time, yeah.
And nobody would be stuck with big installation costs or big sewer bills for the rest of their lives.
Can I make a real quick point on that, though? Part of the issue, like areas in Oakville, is the lots are too small to have on-site correction. So it's also, you know, a drainage issue, but a lot of times there's not an on-site solution, so the sewers come anyway. And in the past, the surveyor's office, and I haven't had direct conversation with Phil, and I think he does a great job to work well together, is like Scheidler. Those drains would need to be redone for a while, but the surveyor has refused, or has not worked on them because they're got to have sewage in them. So it's,
Right, and that, it's a problem, there's a lot, it sounds easier than it is, there's a lot of.
and if we could all work together though,
Right.
and set up a plan through this mechanism and take those into consideration, I think we'll be much stronger through the process. Thank you.
Good.
Monthly, weekly reports. We'll move on to payment of claims. The amount of $1,827,321.84.
Move for payment claim.
Second.
Have a motion to pay and a second. Denise, call the roll.
Miss Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. Bledsoe.
Yes.
And Mr. King.
Yes. Last, we have questions, comments, answers, and other business. I'd entertain a motion to recess.
So moved. Second.
Denise, call the roll.
Mr. Bledsoe.
Yes.
Miss Reagan.
Yes.
And Mr. King.
Yes. Then recess.